Hello, and welcome from me too to the ContainerDays. I'm Sascha Siegl. I'm a pre-sales consultant at SysEleven. And before I'm going to start with my slides, which I'm not going to present you anything you actually want to hear about, I want you to visit menti.com and put in the code 6626888 and a 6. You can join with your phone or with your at home with your laptop. The reason why I'm doing this is, as a pre-sales consultant, I often talk about the newest features for the application on Kubernetes with the customers. But in the last year, we talked a lot about how to integrate any application tool, like development tools, every customer uses. And there are always different numbers on how which tool you're using. So today I want to collaborate with you and find the best suitable tools for Kubernetes in the application development. In the end, we're going to create a mind map with you, and we're going to give it to you via miro.com. You can visit that site, and we're going to refinish it during the next days, so you can have a look at this mind map all together later on. I'm going to ask you some simple questions to get into that, and I'm going to lead you through the questions. Okay, so let's start. The first one is a warm-up. Yeah, I want to know where you're actually developing your code. So are you doing it locally? If you're using an IDE, if you're using it with Docker Compose, or you're going already within individual cloud setup, like in the cloud, as it says, or you're doing your developments in your production environment somewhere. It doesn't have to be your production environment like a namespace on the same Kubernetes cluster. It just has to be the same environment at all. This question is also for me to set a baseline to understand how many people are actually trying to get along with us. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds more. If you're choosing other, you can also comment on this site during the comment section, and you can write down what differs. Okay, so I'm seeing roughly over 40 people on here. 45. Okay, so we're roughly talking about 50 people. That's a really good start. And if you want someone to join later on, I'm going to give you the link also to the menti.com page, and I'm going to put it onto audience pace so you can go through this by your own. Okay, let's come to the first question. We're going to start up with what tool do you use during code development? And I mean like any tool. If it's like an IDE, if it's like Visual Studio Code or Lens IDE or something you want to work with. You can also actually tell me if you use any runtime environment, if it's Docker, Minikube, or anything like that. Just feel free to get those words down. I can see that. IntelliJ, Visual Studio Code, Emacs, not bad. Microcates as a runtime. Yeah, but Docker is still in the lead. As an interesting fact, if you're looking at the market share for development tools, Microsoft Virtual Studio is still in the lead. I don't believe that either, but that's what the websites actually tell us. And the second one is Eclipse IDE. So nice. I'm seeing like pure Python, GitLab CI/CD in the code development. Nice choice. JetBrains also a really big vendor. WebStorm, Podman, really good. Okay, let's wrap it up here, and let's go to the next question. So you've been developing your code, you've been like testing it or anything else. The question now is, how do you build your images? And I mean, in that case, what kind of tooling do you use? Do you use something like Calico, like the plain software which actually builds the images? Is it Docker? Is it Podman? And again, GitLab CI. You can also put down words like, I don't know, if you're a Java developer, like Maven or Resolve or something, or Make. This is also an interesting part because this actually shows in the end like how deep you're going in that abstraction of developing code. Like how dependent are you on, for some people, infrastructural tools. Team City, okay. That looks like a good ramp up. We have Jenkins also there, interesting. Yeah. Dockerfile, parallels, and a Packer. Okay, so we're going to ramp it up. I'm going to go to the next question. So we developed our code, we built the images on it, and now we're thinking about testing it. What tool do you use for testing? And I mean like any test. Is it like load testing? Is it unit testing? We're talking about like JUnit or Apache JMeter. Humans, eh? The none part is important. It's going to be on the mind map as well. We have to put that down. Now it's interesting because of the testing tools are always like shaped for some coding languages. It's getting broader. So I'm seeing, where is it? I lost it. MS Test, the Bash, SOAP UI, interesting because of the, yeah. Oh, we're having Selenium, also good. Interesting choices. Fun fact here, one of the most used testing tools on the market share pages is actually Soasta and also Cucumber. I don't see them here. Ah, there it is, Cucumber. This is going to be an awesome mind map you're going to create with me. Thank you for that participation by now. Oh, we're on 75 people right now. Okay, let's have a look to the next one. Where do you store your code and your configs? We're talking about like source code management, and I want you to differentiate between like if you're doing it on a cloud, on a managed software like GitHub, or if you're doing it with, for example, GitLab. Are you doing it on gitlab.com, or are you doing it on premise or at another vendor? I really love the results by now because every market share I've been reading in the last weeks show nothing of this. This is totally different. Okay. We're having big Bitbucket and Bitbucket Cloud. A lot of GitHub. GitLab self-hosted. I'm with you. That's what we're using too. Any Subversion users here? Probably not. Yeah, okay. Sweet as. 45 answers. Kubernetes secrets. Also wise choice. There's also a huge demand for a tool called CVS. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's actually one of the top three Git software tools used on the market. Next question, what tool do you use for automation? So we're actually talking now about CI/CD pipelining. And there's like everything allowed, you know. So if it's a Jenkins, even if it's Ansible, I want you to understand, I want you to share your thoughts on automation. And if it's Ansible or Terraform or something, then that's a good choice in most cases. I mean, one of the biggest challenges in IT is to get every workflow of every sector it's trying to serve, getting it done properly. And if I'm thinking about e-health sector, it's a completely different approach. So we're having the GitLab CI fan base still on here. We got the GitHub Actions. Argo CD, pretty strong. Azure Devops. So here we are actually have this in common with the market shares shown on different pages. So GitHub, Jenkins, and TeamCity are the top three used software tools, and I can see that except for the other TeamCity as well. So we do go with the market on here. Let's go to the next question. How do you deploy changes to your runtime environments? And I don't mean like with your automation tool, that would be interesting as well, but like what kind of deployment tool behind your automation tooling? So are you working with operators? Are you working with plain kubectl? Is it maybe Argo CD or Octopus deploy from TeamCity, which is also part of the TeamCity family? Oh, there it is, yeah. Ansible, Terraform, upload and pray. And it always works. There are never bugs when I'm deploying. Just because I'm praying. Docker Swarm. I'm assuming with Flux CD that you're already using Flux 2. When I've been searching for the market shares of different deployment toolings on Kubernetes, it's pretty hard to have a comparison to other toolings which are already in place. So the most common deployment tooling is actually a so-called Capistrano. They have a huge market share. and the second one is actually Octopus from JetBrains. So here again, a totally different picture. How do you manage your live deployments? So now we're talking about you're having your code deployed, you're putting it into operations, and the question here is, how do you keep like the life cycle? And you can start with, when you're starting with webhooks and you're working with jobs inside of Kubernetes or somewhere else, or cron jobs or something, I'm fine with that. If you're going out with your monitoring tool and you're trying to manage it via your monitoring tool, also a good idea. Or you're doing it with the deployment tooling you're having. Life is life. Na, 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 na. Git commit history, also very interesting. GitOps is actually the buzzword. We're talking about declarative states, especially on Kubernetes in the containerized environment. This is what we're striving to be, like being declarative as much as possible. And although it is a very old topic in our work, the application management done in Kubernetes or in containers actually created a whole new area of tools. K9S, also good. Sweat and tears, copy and paste. Okay, that's fine. Let's go to the next question. So, in the end, you're still having your life cycle done with the tools you've put down there. But how do you actually monitor it? And then with monitoring, I also mean logging. I'm not talking about metrics themselves, but also about the output. Prometheus, Prometheus, Prometheus. Loco is Loki, I assume. Could be brothers. Fluentd, Elastic Stack. It's also interesting to see on every slide that you're having different abstraction levels. So right now we could talk about Fluentd, we could talk about Elasticsearch or Kibana, and this whole family is actually doing the job, not one tool itself. I'm missing one of the biggest ones, which is like out of historical reasons. So the market share is actually given by Nagios. It's still the most used. But Prometheus is already second, and it's not even half as old as Nagios. So I think that's got to do with Kubernetes. I'm not sure, but I guess so. Instana, yeah, really nice. So all these questions, we're going to ramp that up. Yeah, we're going to create a mind map out of that. And before I'm going to give you some further insights on why we asked those questions, why I asked those questions, I want you to put down like what kind of topic you've been missing. So I had a roadmap in my mind. I was trying to get with those questions a good mind map to start with, and to think about how you develop actually applications and how you want them to be treated during operations. Maybe one or two of you have an idea on what topic did you miss in itself. Secret handling, totally. It has to be like DevOps is good. DevSecOps could be better. What to use for... Okay. Tracing, also interesting, yeah? So what I'm going to do with this slide, I'm going to go over the next few weeks and have a look at those, and also include that in the mind maps. Not in the next days. Give me some slack. I'm going to be on vacation next week, so there's going to be some time. But I'm going to have a look into that to make it even broader. But what I actually wanted to achieve is to get for every step in the software development lifecycle, one tooling you can agree on and you actually want to focus on. Because depending on like what I told you about what market shares are on which topic, you could assume that the containerization and Kubernetes actually wrapped it up. There's a wholly different market share to work with. And that's what I wanted to give you with that mind map creation also on the way. Just because the tooling you're having right now is maybe not listed there, it could fit in there, but in the most cases, it's actually a good idea to rethink your working habits. By meaning, like what kind of tooling you're using, and especially what comes underneath. You can see that on the slide there, the whole CI/CD pipeline themes. Yeah, I hope you had fun with answering those questions. We're gonna give you a wrap up on this mind map. We're not gonna finish it right now. I mean, my colleague started on it already, but there were so many answers. I think we have to refine them a bit. We're gonna give you that Miro updates as soon as possible. So if you have a look tomorrow, we're going to have probably a bigger update for you there. Okay, do you have any questions on that? Then thanks for sitting here with me and joining with me online. And yeah, have a nice rest of the Container Days.